here we are, and the journey continues. So I'm heading to Utah. I got a job at Zion National Park or Zion Canyon Resorts or Zion River something. It's like 3 places there somewhere in Utah, and I got a job in the office working, and I thought I would do a quick video while I was driving, because finally I'm hands-free. Yes, I don't have to hold the phone. I can drive and do what everybody else does and video. I'm just saying, I don't think I can turn the camera since I can't turn the camera. My head looks fat. I mean, I am fat, but my head looks fatter than usual. Maybe it's just the angle, or maybe it's just a fat head. I'm off topic. Anyway, it's like 6 a.m. and I've already been on the road for 3 hours, but it's bright enough now for you to actually see me on camera, because otherwise it was just a voice in the dark background. Oh, Lord have mercy. I don't know why when I get on trips, all of a sudden I get talky, like, I'm excited. It's what it is. I'm excited to be on the road. And let me give you just a little bit of backstory in the 10 minutes that I have. And I'm probably going to overtalk it and have to do a part 2 through 12, but I digress. So I was in Minnesota for the last almost 2 years. I came September of 21 to work a job in Minnesota. I stayed until October of 22, left, came back in January of 23, worked until May of 23, left, and I was going to go back, but I didn't want to. I didn't really want to do the job, and I was ready for a change. I just didn't know if I was going to find a job once I left and where. But I forgot the difference this time is that, hello, I have a vehicle. So I have a 2009 Chevy Traverse, which is a 3-seater. So I feel like I'm in a stylish minivan. Oh, I love it though. Anyway, so I have a vehicle. So number one, that's the difference. The last time I went back in January is because I needed to save some more money. I had not bought a vehicle yet, and it was the easiest place for me to go back to work where I didn't need a vehicle. I would have a place to stay, and so it kind of checked off all the boxes, right? This time, I have a vehicle, so that is the biggest box, because I know I can sleep in the vehicle, and my intention was to tent camp in here anyway. My intention was to buy a van and be able to sleep in the van. At this point, the journey says, here you go, you're going to have an SUV, just a big one. I'm fine with that. Anyway, so I was applying for jobs in Minneapolis where my friend lives. I applied for a job on the Work Camper site, and I applied at AutoZone because they were hiring a delivery driver, and I was doing roadie, which is delivering stuff on an app, like DoorDash, but it's not food, it's, electronics or whatever, Home Depot, whatever people want. So I was like, oh, well, if I could work at AutoZone and deliver parts, and it was like part-time, then I don't have to have a full-time job. I can do that when I want to, and it's in their vehicle. So I was like, boom, that sounds like a plan. And this is how it works out. And somebody said this to me before: when it's easy, it's right, or what's right for you is easy. This has been my experience, in that the job in Utah, I saw it. It said it had RV spaces and housing available. All of the hours were paid, and it was full of part-time, and it was available now. So when I applied and called the gentleman, we went over everything. He was excited. He said, send me your resume. They always ask for a picture of your rig and or you. And so I sent it. I had already applied at AutoZone, and just so happened I was out doing roadie when AutoZone called me and ended up going to the interview with AutoZone. And I was like, well, and AutoZone was like, hey, we need people right now, but you can pretty much name your start date. And basically said, I'm going to send you the offer letter, and when you get it, you know, you just have to like okay us doing a background check, and then once it comes back, you can start. And I was like, okay, great. I was like, I technically can't start until July 15th because my friend and my son were coming to Florida, and we're going to be leaving around and back in Minnesota on the 10th. So I'm like, let's just say the 15th, right? Which is what I told everybody, including Utah. You know, when do you need somebody to start? Because technically I won't be available to July 15th when I would be in Minnesota. And they were like, we need someone tomorrow. And I was like, okay. So Utah was kind of a, we'll see if it works out. But we got AutoZone because they're saying I can name my date. And what happens? Utah calls me back immediately. Utah manager calls me back immediately. Have a conversation with her. She was like, hey, when can you start? What hours do you want to work? We got a place where you can stay. You can be, we'll take care of you. Everything. I'm like, okay. Hey, AutoZone, where are you? Right? Because again, I'm thinking, hey, Florida, this is going to be an issue if I'm not in Florida. So then my friend is here with her son and my son, and she's alone, and I'm not in Florida. So now I'm kind of going, well, I'll get AutoZone. It's not a big deal, right? AutoZone does not call me back. AutoZone does not send me the paperwork. I call AutoZone, damn near stalking them. Hey, guy, what's going on? I just want to make sure that I actually have the job because I have another job that's basically a go. I would prefer the AutoZone if you would just give me the documentation so I feel like I have something definitive. Do I get it? Nothing. Again, here comes Utah sending me like the directions to where I'm going to stay, the hotel, everything. And I'm like, you know what? I'm supposed to be in Utah. That's what's supposed to happen because it's just fallen into place too easily, right? And then when I look up where in Utah I'm going to be staying, I am 3 hours from Las Vegas, 6 hours from LA, 8 hours from Denver, 8 hours from Phoenix. I don't even forget how many hours from New Mexico. It's something 6 to 8 hours from New Mexico. I'm like, bitch, you supposed to be in Oregon, Utah. So Utah it is, and that's where I'm heading. And right now, I am in Des Moines, Iowa. I think I'm in Des Moines. It looks like Des Moines. I mean, it's flat. It's amazing. Anyway, so that's where I am. I'm on the road heading to Utah. And I have to tell you how amazing this is, this journey that I'm on, because I've been planning this since 2013, and I've said it in another video, and I probably will continue to say it, because when I say that what's right for you is easy, it doesn't mean it doesn't take a long time. It just means that the plan works out. You know what I mean? I knew I was coming to Minnesota. I didn't know I was going to have a job when I came to Minnesota, and that's in 2013. I just knew that was my plan, and it just so happened that I ended up getting a job in Minnesota, right? I wanted to be on the road and be able to travel, and now I have a vehicle, right? And I wanted to travel on the West Coast. I wanted to go to the RTR, which is in January in Arizona, and guess where I'll be in January when I finish this job? I will be very close to Arizona. So here's the things falling into place, and you following your journey where it leads you and enjoying the journey as it happens, right? That's if only I had stopped there, it would have been such a perfect ending, right? Like but I still have more to say, but I can see that I'm running out of time. I can see it. So it's either going to cut me off or I'm going to stop talking at the right moment.